Well, hey, we're live.
We are.
It's live Romantic Friday.
Goodness, romantic.
It's Romantic Friday.
And I made you watch a romantic movie. Oh my God.
Was this really a romantic movie, though?
Totally.
Really?
Heart-wrenching, tragic romance.
Well, if that's the way you like it, babe, I know that's the way you like it. Tragic and heart-wrenching.
I like it.
Well, I guess we're going to talk about Joe Wright's 2007 Atonement on this show.
We are.
All right, we're gonna talk about it.
Good.
All right, ready. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, and your sommelier of cinema, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I'm here with my trusty compadre,
Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence.
the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and it's Romantic Friday. You made Fridays on this show Romantic Fridays.
Well, I didn't. Claude did.
Oh, really?
Yes, he suggested it, and we went with it.
We went with it. All right. Well, then, good on Claude. I didn't realize that. Tonight, as everyone knows, we drink a bottle of wine and we talk about a movie. This is our favorite $2 chuck, isn't it?
It's not quite $2.
Well, you know, it is not an expensive.
It's a cheap French wine.
It's a cheap French wine, but because it's French, it even says l'authentique.
Yeah, it's French, so
it's a red table wine. It's a there you go, l'authentique. It's I call it. It's our version of $2 chuck.
Well, you know, it's French wine, and even cheap French wine is good wine.
Oh, would you say that because you're half French?
No, everyone knows that.
They just do.
Yeah.
Do they teach that in school?
No, but they should.
All right. Well, okay. I like this wine. Like I can down 2 bottles of this wine without breaking a sweat. Or maybe that's not true. I break a sweat.
Yeah, we're not drinking 2 bottles of it.
Well, we're gonna drink to Joe Wright's 2007 Atonement, based on Ian McQueen. Hang on. I always forget his name. It's based on McQueen. Ian McEwan. Is it McEwan?
Yes.
It is. You're right. Ian McEwan. He's Irish.
I don't know what he is.
Okay, it's based on his novel. It's a literary adaptation. It's good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff. We're looking at this camera now. So, Joe Wright, of course, directed, what else did he direct? Pride and Prejudice. He directed and Anna Karenina. And he also directed Pan and Hannah and The Darkest Hour. And he's making The Woman in the Window right now. It's in post-production.
Very cool.
So he's a I would say, a highbrow director. He makes highbrow historical and highbrow literary adaptations.
I like that.
Let's drink to him. To Joe Wright.
Actually, after I saw this film, I read the book, and it was pretty amazing.
Is the movie a faithful adaptation of Ian McEwan's book?
It was a while ago, so I don't really remember.
You don't remember?
Of course, the book always has more than the movie.
All right. Well, so why don't you get us started by telling us, what is this movie about?
No, you tell me what this movie's about. I made you watch it.
Oh, so it's me discussing the plot. All right, this takes place.
It's a test to see if you fell asleep.
I didn't fall asleep. Okay, this movie takes place right before, I think it's 1938?
1938-ish.
Right before the outbreak of World War II.
Or 35.
And we meet my 35, I don't know. Let's find out.
It doesn't really matter.
I want to know the exact time.
It was right before World War II.
It was right before World War II. It is. It's 1935 England. And there's Bryony Tallis.
Yes.
It opens with Bryony Tallis, our favorite Saoirse Ronan.
Yes.
Who is a very precocious 13-year-old.
Yes, she is.
She writes
smart
plays,
girl.
and she's smart and wise beyond her years.
She thinks she knows about the world.
She thinks she knows about the world. And then, of course, her older sister is Keira Knightley.
Yes.
Claudia. And they have a man, a guy that's Claudia's age.
Yeah, he's the son of the housekeeper.
Yes, he's the son of their housekeeper, but this is a very stately mansion. Beautiful.
It is.
Huge grounds, beautiful mansion, and the housekeeper's son has been highly educated, been sent to the best schools.
The father has taken an interest in him because he's a very intelligent guy. He sends him to Cambridge.
And he's
And he's about to go to medical school. And he was at Cambridge at the same time as Claudia, except she kind of ignored him when he was there.
Right. But you get the feeling like they had something going on.
They have feelings for each other, but she's trying very hard not to.
Right. And he works around the grounds.
He does.
He's like a groundskeeper.
Yeah.
And even though everyone knows how smart he is, and
he's still a servant.
Yes, he's still a servant. And but it's it opens, and then we have their relatives come for Juno Temple, who's 16, and they have two the girl and two
the cousins.
The cousins come
from the north.
Juno Temple's one of them. She's
redheaded,
16. The redhead
cousins.
Yes, and they have the redheaded twin boys.
Yes.
As well, and I guess Claude, the older brother. Is it the older?
The older brother has been away, and now he's coming.
And he's
home
come
to
back,
visit.
and that's what this is all about. The family's kind of coming together, and the older brother has brought his friend, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
And they're all in this house, and Saoirse Ronan, Bryony is she wants to put on her play, and she wants Juno Temple and the two twins to put it on, and they have little interest.
They don't care.
They don't care. They just want to play and have a good time.
They want to go swimming, and they get bored and.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Bryony sees something. She looks out the window and she sees something odd where it looks like that.
She sees her she sees Claudia and what is his name in the movie?
Well, let's find out his name. James McAvoy plays Robbie. Robbie.
She sees Claudia and Robbie at the fountain.
And it's odd. Robbie's back is to her from the window. And Claudia gets in the fountain.
She takes her clothes off and is in her slip, and she gets into the fountain.
And gets all the way in, like goes underwater in the fountain.
Yeah, and comes out, and you can see through her her slip. And,
you get a little muff action.
And Bryony is like just kind of, she just doesn't even know what to make of it.
She doesn't know what to make of it, and it is odd.
It is odd. When you're just watching what's happening.
It is odd, and we should say that this movie is beautifully directed. Seamus McGarvey's the photography in this movie the cinematography is beautiful. The music score won an Academy Award. It won the Oscar, and it incorporates the sound of a typewriter into the music. And the typewriter. Every time
you see Bryony, it's that typewriter.
It's very, very innovative, very interesting.
Yeah.
So the movie is very. But as I was watching this, I'm like, I didn't really quite understand what's happening. And then when Benedict Cumberbatch shows up, and he's kind of looking at Juno Temple.
Yeah,
even though Juno Temple's like 16, you can see there's something going on.
Yeah.
Something's going on between them.
Hello, redhead.
Yeah, hello, redhead. and everybody's basically prepping for dinner, and everybody's talking about everybody else and who likes who and what's going on, and
okay, so
well, go ahead.
Before dinner happens, Robbie decides to the older brother invites Robbie to dinner.
Yeah, I was about to get to that part.
Oh, okay. Because you were talking about dinner, so.
Well, no, I mean everyone's preparing for this dinner, and you kind of you jump around through the house to meet everybody, and yes, so Robbie is writing a letter to.
Yeah, because he's been invited to dinner, and she's upset. Claudia's upset at her brother for inviting him. She doesn't want to see him because she's trying to fight her feelings.
Yeah, I mean, she's in love with him.
She doesn't
she's
want to
be. And he writes 2 letters.
He does.
He writes 2 letters, and one basically says, "I want to kiss your wet cunt."
Yeah,
that's what the letter says.
He's abusing himself.
Yeah, and he literally writes, and it close up the word, "I want to kiss your wet cunt." You see it right there. Not exactly the words I would choose if you want to. He's trying to express his feelings.
He just wrote that for himself.
He wrote it for himself, but then he writes another letter,
which he folds up and puts on the desk next to him.
And
Then he writes a handwritten letter saying that he's sorry for breaking the vase, because he broke the vase. That's why she went into the fountain to get the piece that.
I was gonna hang on. That's why what I wanted to get to. This movie has a directorial flourish, a trick, if you will, where you get to see the reverse angle, what Saoirse Ronan doesn't see.
Yeah.
And you first see what she sees, and the audience, we think it's one thing.
Right.
Like we think it might be like there's something hinky going on. And then we find out later that the reverse of what she saw was really they were talking about their feelings for one another, and they had this vase, like this most expensive vase, and they accidentally broke it. Robbie he grabbed it from her,
and broke a piece off,
and the piece
and
fell
into the
fountain. So she takes her clothes off to get this because this is a very, very, very valuable vase.
Plus, she's upset with what he's, her feelings, and so she goes into the water.
So it wasn't nefarious. She didn't take off her clothes because they were. Robbie was doing something, but Saoirse Ronan doesn't know that.
To a 13-year-old girl who knows nothing but thinks she knows everything.
Well, and then Robbie gives the letter to Saoirse Ronan to take to Keira Knightley. So he's expressing.
So he wrote a handwritten note excusing himself for his behavior. That's basically it.
And probably, but unfortunately, he gives Saoirse Ronan the note that says, "I want to kiss your wet cunt."
And right after he hands it to her, he's like, "Can you please give this to Claudia?" Right after he hands it to her, he realizes what letter is in there.
Yeah, it's not right after, because she's gone. She's taken the letter. And then he realizes it, because it's, again, they do this direct.
As she's running away, he yells out her name, but she's already
she's gone. Yeah, she's gone. So she takes this letter, and of course, being the precocious child that she is, she opens it and reads it before she gives it to Claudia.
Yeah, and she is appalled.
Appalled, mortified. She can't believe it. She thinks he's a crazy sex maniac.
Sex maniac is what she calls him.
She calls him a sex maniac, and she's telling everybody.
She tells her cousin.
She tells Juno Temple
that he's a sex maniac, and that she should be careful.
Yes, and the thing is, this guy Robbie's a very nice guy.
And the reason she is upset and thinks that he's a sex maniac is because she has a huge crush on him.
Yes.
And she's jealous of what she's seeing happening between her older sister and Robbie.
Yes. Yes, and then before dinner, she comes in and she finds him, and then Robbie comes to the house. Everybody's coming to the house to dinner, and Robbie confronts. They have a conversation.
Well, she answers the door.
Yeah,
and he looks like, oh.
Yeah, but they talk about it, and it's not like for her. She's like, well, Keira Knightley's not. She's not appalled by it.
Of course not.
She's not appalled by it.
That's when she realizes, oh.
Yeah,
I really do have feelings for him.
Yeah, they have feelings for each other, and he's basically said, it was 1935 Tinder. He's like, I want to hook up, babe. And I wouldn't have chosen to use those words, but at least he's one of these guys that goes down. In Britain, I've heard that doesn't happen a lot, but in 1935, James McAvoy is a guy that he's a cunning linguist. So that's pretty cool.
She's like, yeah, baby.
And then, of course,
she leads him into the library, and...
Well, we don't know yet.
Her little clip falls out.
Yeah, but we don't know that's happened yet. What happens is, Saoirse Ronan goes into the library, and she sees...
No, they go into the library first. They go into the library.
No.
Claudia says, did Bryony read the letter? And he's like, she said, was the letter in an envelope? And he said, yes. And she knew at that point that Bryony had read the letter. And they go into the library and they start making out. And she says, I love you. And he says, I love you.
No.
And then Bryony comes in.
No. What happens is Bryony sees them first, and you don't know. It's the same thing that happened in the beginning at the fountain.
Oh, maybe you're right.
She sees them and we, again, the audience doesn't know. We're seeing the tableau as Bryony is seeing it, and she doesn't know what's happening.
We're seeing it through her eyes.
We're seeing it through her eyes. We don't know what's happened. And she finds like her sister's earring or the brooch, like a little brooch, and star. It leads her in there, and so we don't know what that is, and she runs away. No, we don't know what, and it's afterwards, just like we saw afterwards when she got into the water and got the. Right. It's afterwards where we see.
Yeah, you see the other.
Where they.
Viewpoint.
And it's a pretty hot sex scene. I mean, they have sex and they
declare their love for each other.
Their love for each other.
And Bryony then is convinced he's a sex maniac.
Yeah, and this just reaffirms that.
Yeah.
Because she's read the letter and now she's seen.
Yep.
And she thinks that he's coercing her, that there's something going on, that it's not
mutual. At dinner,
mutual.
she's like being really cold, and And then they're waiting for the twins to come to dinner, and the mother sends Bryony up to find them. So she goes upstairs and she finds a note that the boys are running away. They want to go home.
They're running away.
So everyone then starts searching for these twins.
Yeah, everyone searches for the twins, and there's everyone. Benedict Cumberbatch is out on the grounds. Juno Temple's out on the grounds. Everybody's looking.
Everybody's looking.
And they can't find him.
They're looking, and then you see Bryony with her little flashlight, and she comes upon a scene of a couple in the grass.
Well, she sees Juno Temple, her cousin, and a man is
humping her.
Is humping her. The man dismounts and runs away.
Yeah, as soon as the flashlight hits them, he runs away. She screams. And
we don't see. We see the movie. We see the scene, the tableau, as she
through
sees
Bryony's
it,
eyes,
and she doesn't, and clearly she doesn't see his face.
No, because it's dark, and he runs away.
I mean, she does maybe, but
at that moment though, she's got in her mind
that it's James McAvoy because he's a sex maniac.
So she she brings her cousin back, and the cousin is. Oh, she asks her cousin, "Who was it? Who was it? It was Robbie, wasn't it?" And her cousin is like so ashamed that she was doing this that she pretends like, yeah, it was Robbie because he's a sex maniac, and she didn't want to get in trouble for.
So in the meantime, Robbie is nowhere to be found. Robbie's gone.
Robbie's gone. He's still looking.
He's looking for the twins. And in the meantime, everybody comes back, and Juno Temple is all disheveled, and everyone thinks that she has been raped.
She's crying.
She was a virgin,
And then they call the police.
And the doctor comes, and the police come, and everyone's waiting for Robbie.
And Bryony tells the police that she was sure that she saw Robbie, that it was Robbie.
So everyone's waiting for Robbie to come back.
Everyone's waiting, and
then a while later,
he shows up with the twins.
And he's got one twin on his shoulders,
yep.
And he's got another twin, I guess he's holding his hand.
Yep.
And Robbie has no idea any of this has happened.
As he's coming up, he sees, people are just standing there. They're not happy to see that he found the twins. They're just and he knows something's up. And he's like,
And he's hauled off to jail.
Yeah, they take him away.
They take him away. He's hauled off to jail, and nobody speaks up for him. And he's gone.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Then you jump to 5 years later.
4 or 5 years, yeah, 5 years later.
And it's during the war.
Well, yeah, you meet Robbie again, and he's with his team. They're behind enemy lines in France.
He's hiding in a barn with two other guys.
They meet up with the French resistance. They get some food.
And then they're trying to get home because I think by then...
They're trying to get to Dunkirk.
Right.
They're trying to get to Dunkirk to go across the channel and get back to England.
He has a wound in his chest, and they're traveling, and they get to a beach where all these troops are waiting to be picked up. And it's just tons and tons of...
Which is interesting because it's what The Darkest Hour is about.
Yeah.
And there's an incredible shot. This incredible long tracking shot. I mean, I don't know how long this took to set up. When they go across the beach, and you see all these men, and it goes from one place to another, and it's this gigantic wide shot with looks like thousands of extras. I don't know if there's an effect.
Thousands!
It's
it goes
incredible.
all the way down the beach, and there's even a Ferris wheel.
Yeah,
and
there's men singing,
there's
and
cars, and there's horses, and there's all kind yeah.
And it's I mean, again, the photography in this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then they eventually find a place to lay up, and you can tell James McAvoy's not in good shape.
He's not in good shape. His wound is infected.
Yeah.
And he's starting to kind of hallucinate a little.
And then the movie jumps back in time.
Yes.
Like 6 weeks earlier.
I thought it was 3, but it could
3
have
weeks.
been 6.
Maybe 3
weeks
weeks
earlier. They show.
And they show him as a private. He's dressed as a private. He's in England. He hasn't shipped out to France yet. And he meets Keira Knightley again.
Yeah.
And they sit down at a cafe and they talk.
They talk.
And they haven't talked since, or before. I guess he wrote her all the time when he was in prison.
She wrote to him, but he never responded because he didn't see the point, because he thought he was going to be in prison for a long time. So
and they let him out to fight.
They gave him a choice. You can either stay in prison or you can go fight, and he chose to fight.
But you can tell that there's still love there. He still loves her, even though he's disappointed.
But she has to convince him that, like, okay, you're out now. We can continue. I've been waiting for you, basically.
Yeah, we can continue. I'm waiting for you, and also maybe we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So then she takes off because she's now a nurse. She takes off, and he runs after her, and he's kind of left alone in the street.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back. Well, it doesn't cut back.
No, and then it shows that Briney.
Yeah, we jump ahead, like more time, jumps to a different part of time.
I think it's around the same time.
But Briney is
Briney decides to also be a nurse instead of going to Cambridge, so that she can help out. And she has written Claudia lots of letters explaining that she realizes now what she has done, and she wants to meet up with her and talk to her.
And Claudia has not responded.
Claudia, no, yeah,
has not responded to her, and she's also older now, and we see her as a nurse. She's seeing the horrors of war.
Yeah.
You know, and she's seen men. She sees a Frenchman that she's asked to go speak to this Frenchman in the hospital, and the Frenchman says, "Unwrap my bandages on my head," and she sees that his brain is exposed.
Yeah.
I mean, and he basically dies.
And it's somebody
right?
that she knew from before, because they used to go vacation in their village, and she knew him. He knew her, and he basically says, "Do you love me?" He just needed at that moment to have her, somebody he knew. And she says yes, and that also, like, impacts her to realize what she has done.
Right.
And she, in the middle of the night, is writing her story, the novel.
Yes.
That ends the film.
Yeah, that's when she starts writing, and then then she goes to visit her sister, and more time passes, and she goes to visit Keira Knightley.
But on the way, somehow she saw a film reel, a newsreel that showed
Juno Temple and Benedict Cumberbatch are getting married. He's inherited.
They're getting married.
He's inherited a chocolate company.
Yeah, and she sees that they're getting married, so she goes to the wedding. And she sees that they're getting married, and as they're walking out, her cousin looks away because she's so ashamed.
Yeah.
But right after that, she goes to see Claudia.
She goes to see Claudia and tries to make amends. And what you don't realize is that James McAvoy's there as well.
He's there, yeah.
And then James McAvoy comes out, and the two of them confront her.
Yeah.
Why did you do this? You left me in jail. Do you know what jail is like?
Yeah, yeah. And then they want her to fix it. So they tell her to write to the family and write to the police and tell them the truth.
Yep. And then something really interesting happens. Mm-hmm. We suddenly cut to a television studio.
Yeah.
You cut to a television studio, and I was watching this movie, and I'm like, what? It was
way in the future.
Yeah, it's done really well. I'm like, even I was like, wait, what? They didn't have television in World War II. So, and then
but you see a much older Briney.
But it's Vanessa Redgrave.
Yeah.
And it's Vanessa Redgrave as old Briney. Like old Briney.
Yes, and they keep Briney's hairstyle the same, so that it's her.
It's cleverly done.
Yeah.
And she's on an interview show, and at first she cries. She's not ready to do the interview show, and then she does the interview show, and the interviewer asks about her brand new book, Atonement.
Her 21st novel.
Her novel.
And she says, "It's my last novel."
It's my last novel because she's dying.
She's dying.
She says she's dying, and then it's pretty shocking what. We find out that James McAvoy actually died. He never left Dunkirk. He died from his wound.
He died that
septicemia.
night.
He died. And Keira Knightley, when she was taking refuge in an underground tube tunnel, during one of the bombings, a water main broke and flooded the tube tunnel and killed her too. She also died. So both of them died.
They both died.
They never ever Bryony never met them and confronted them both back in England.
She never
that
got
never
to talk
happened.
to her. They never saw each other.
They never saw each other again.
And they died alone.
They each died alone without their loves. And so Vanessa Redgrave has written this book because she's carried this all around with her whole life.
Yeah.
And she said, I wrote this book to give them the happy ending that they never got in real life.
Deserved.
And then we see them frolicking by the white cliffs of Dover.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful house and this scene, and it's kind of romantic.
Yep.
And
so in her mind, her atonement was to write a different ending for them.
Now, upon reflection on this movie, I don't like this movie.
Wow! You didn't say that last night.
Well, because I didn't really think about it. I had to think about it. I had to mull over it because I had a lot of issues with this film.
Spoil away. We always spoil. You should watch the movie before you watch the show.
Yeah. But it had this shocking ending, but at the end of as I was thinking about this today, I'm like, what am I supposed to take away from this movie? To me, this movie seemed like, I mean, I understand, I get it. I understand what the movie's about. I get it all. But it annoyed me because, one, I didn't think it played fair with the audience. You know, because there was too much, like, I know it was supposed to be from her point of view, but once we leave, once James McAvoy, once Robbie is taken away to jail, the movie is not playing fair with us. I didn't feel that it was, because you're no longer you're, I guess, because you switch from Bryony's point of view, where they jump in and out, where we see it from her point of view, then we see it played again from a different perspective. Now, I know that we're supposed to then jump, it's her mind. We're getting the perspective to change. But the thing is, because she's not there, it was really interesting because the movie started out where we actually see her and we see her perception.
Right.
And then halfway through the film, that changes.
Yeah.
Because we don't see her seeing something and it's different. You know, now it's in her mind. I mean, I get where they were coming from, but I just feel that the movie, as you're I just felt it was very unsatisfying at the end because, like, what? Writing a book about the way you wanted somebody? She could have done the right thing. She could have done the right
but
at
see,
any one point.
she feels so much guilt. That's the whole point.
I get it.
She feels so much guilt about it. She tries to fix it in the best way that she knows how. She's a writer, so.
But she didn't. She waited. It's her last book. She could have done something.
But she said it's my last book, but it's also my first book. She spent years trying to write it.
I understand. I feel, though, that there's something about this story that just ultimately didn't sit well with me. Like, I don't find this story to be particularly romantic, one, because it really wasn't about you. It had romantic scenes in it, but I really thought that this movie was ramping up to being some really interesting story over the years, and I felt like, no, these two nice people got fucked by this little girl.
They did.
They got, instead of fucking each other like they should have been, they got fucked by this little girl, and this little girl carried around guilt her whole life. I was like, fuck you, bitch. By the end of this movie, I'm like, I do not absolve you of your guilt or your responsibility. Well, I don't think writing this novel should, I wanted to say, Vanessa Redgrave, you are damned to hell.
Okay.
You are damned to hell.
I mean, that's fine, but that doesn't make this a bad movie.
Well, no, but I don't think it was a bad movie. I think it was a beautifully done movie. I just didn't like it. I mean, it was good to. I loved watching it. I loved the story unfolding, but it just annoyed me at the end. I was annoyed by the whole thing because it didn't. People got punished. And
that's
they
life.
got.
This could totally have happened.
I
in real
understand
life.
It could have happened, but it's all because of this precocious bitch of a girl.
Exactly.
That was jealous and lied, and you know, she even.
I thought it did a really good job of showing how a young girl can, in her mind, think that she's right and really believe that she's right. And because she's so young, later on in life, comes to realize what she has done.
Yeah, you know what this movie tells me not to do ever? Believe all women. I mean, this woman She
was a child.
I understand, but she falsely accused a guy of a crime.
Yeah, that's bad.
And she came across consenting adults not knowing what she saw. And she fucked up everyone's life.
Yeah, but also she's not the only guilty one in this story. Her cousin could have said,
her cousin could have, but the story
Robbie.
it didn't follow her. She could have.
Cumberbatch could have been like, eh.
Yeah, all these people, a bunch of horrible people.
Horrible people.
And all of them. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch and Juno Temple get to walk away. She marries a rich dude that apparently, even during World War II, his chocolate empire is doing well.
Providing chocolate to the military.
Giving chocolate to the military, and so the military have so they basically. So James McAvoy is a really nice guy, highly educated. That his mom, he just gets fucked.
He does.
This movie is all about James McAvoy getting, not in the way he wants to get fucked, just by, and he literally dies in a hole on the beach in Dunkirk. So he's fighting for his country, and at the end of the movie, I'm like, I was annoyed, man.
Because you're American. I mean, we don't like facing reality. Like, this kind of shit happens all the time.
I want
justice.
I want justice for James.
People live like really horrible lives and then they die. That happens. That actually happens.
I understand that, but why do I want to watch a movie about that? I mean,
why do you watch English Patient?
Because The English Patient is great.
Same. It's a tragic story. Same thing.
It is a tragic story, but it's not tragic like this story is. Katamashi's the man.
No, he's horrible.
I love him.
He's horrible.
He's the best.
He's a horrible human being.
Ralph Fiennes is amazing.
No, he's a dick.
No, I mean, look, on a further contemplation of this film, when I was watching it, I really enjoyed the movie. But I thought it was beautifully made. I loved the directorial flourishes.
So why are you shitting on it?
Because I was thinking about it today, and it just annoyed me.
You're just annoyed because of the circumstances of the story.
I'm annoyed because this movie is called Atonement, and nobody should get Atonement.
Right, but okay, nobody's arguing that. It's just
I wanted to see like a flashback where you saw Vanessa Redgrave's life. They could have done the flashback structure and showed that since World War II up to 2007, if this movie takes place in real time, she had just a horrible life. She never found love.
Well, she
never allowed herself.
She probably did have a horrible life.
She became a famous novelist, and she wrote 21 books and become rich and famous. And then she's going to try and absolve herself at the end of her life. She is like most human beings would want some sort of, This movie would drive me to drink.
Yeah, it's tragic. It's heart-wrenchingly tragic,
But it's not. To me, tragedy, great tragedies, happen because of circumstance. I like the Montagues and the Capulets. It's their war that spills over and destroys Romeo and Juliet. This was. I don't think it's a tragedy when someone is a fucking asshole, and they lie.
Then what is it?
I don't know what it is.
It's a tragedy for Robbie. It's a tragedy for Claudia.
It is, but it's tragic because their own flesh and blood.
Mistake. She was a child.
But it wasn't. She didn't make a mistake. She actually made a false accusation.
She believed it at that time.
Still,
it's horrible. Exactly. That's exactly what it's about. She realizes later on when she gets older what she did. She realizes that. And because they both died, the only way she can fix it or even try even just a little.
She can't fix it.
She can't, exactly. But she tries even just a tiny little bit to do something.
She lied. Two people who loved each other that might not have been the situations that they were in died.
Yeah.
She lied. They died. She became rich and famous, and on her deathbed, finally gets to publish. Oh, I'm gonna let me get into heaven, God. I'll write this book. Please let me into heaven, and don't send me to the good place.
That's realistic.
I don't want to go there.
That's realistic.
Yeah, the people who find God on their deathbed. I hate those people.
That's life. That's reality.
Richard E. Grant said that in The Player. That's life. That's reality.
There you go. I quoted him and I didn't even know it.
You know what? I got to tell you, again, this movie annoyed me. It just annoyed me. I mean, I love the movie, watching it's great, really well made film, but at the end of the day, I'm wondering, why am I at this? What is this story supposed to say to me? It just pisses me off.
Wow. Yet English Patient doesn't piss you off.
No.
Nonsense.
It's
That
the English
makes no
Patient.
sense.
Because the English Patient is about two people that they make decisions in their lives for themselves.
Okay. So?
You know, and well, I think that's different. That's different than a story. I just didn't like this story.
I guess you didn't like this story.
I didn't like the story. I thought it was well told, but and I'll tell you another thing. I liked the idea of Bryony's character, the way she saw the world, and then how the audience was able to see the reality of everything. She never got to see that reality. And then we're watching a reality that she's created in her own mind.
Right.
I'm like...
But then at the end, they show you what really happened.
Yeah.
So it's still the same structure.
I get that, but she made that shit up. You know, just like, I mean, she always was making stuff up, but I like the fact that she saw things that she misinterpreted. Mm-hmm. And then later in the movie, she was just making stuff up out of whole cloth. And you could say she was a playwright, she was destined to be a writer, that's what she always was going to be.
Yeah.
But I just, you know, maybe it annoyed me because I wanted justice. Justice for James, man. He got no justice. They never got justice. These two people did not deserve the typhoon, the hurricane of an accusation and their lying sister.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, maybe, you know, in this day and age, also this idea that we are supposed to believe all women. Maybe that's it. You know, maybe I'm too sensitive because of where we are in our cancel culture right now. She canceled them. She canceled James McAvoy, and it reminds me that we now live in a world where people can make one accusation and destroy a life.
They can't.
Maybe this movie's. Maybe I should look at it that way. That this film is a cautionary tale about cancel culture.
Yeah. But here's the thing: other people were around. They could have. Plus, they could have tested to his character. How could he all of a sudden be a rapist?
Well, also, yeah, and that was another thing. Did he have a trial? You know, he was just thrown.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but
it's assumed that he had a trial.
I know, but nobody stepped up for him, like, during the trial. But I know that's not part of the story. He just got railroaded. This movie, maybe it just scares me. Maybe this movie is a horror film, really. It's not a tragic romance at all. It's a horror movie about the modern age. And about how we as men are one step away from being thrown into jail and dying on a beach because somebody lies about what we did.
I mean, there you go.
Maybe that's what it is.
There you go. It's a cautionary tale.
It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it either.
No, you get fucked. Anyway, let's see what people are saying.
Maybe you should stay off social media.
Yeah, that's what it is. Social media.
That's the moral of this story. Stay off of social media.
That must be it. Let's see what people are saying. Oh yeah, that's Willow's for today. Julius is here. Julius Goodwin sends in a tip and says, I asked this the other night, but you missed it. Oh. Do you have an anime intro song that gets you hyped or that you happen to like? Myself, I like the intro songs to Neon Genesis Evangelion, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Dead Man Wonderland. I'll tell you what my favorite anime theme song is. The theme to Akira. I love the music for Akira. I also love the music for Cowboy Bebop. I used it. If you look on the Burnettwork, I put up my Femme Fatale directing reel, and I used was Tank from Cowboy Bebop, and yeah, 1, 2, 3. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, those are probably my favorite. Do you have an anime theme song?
No.
No. Ross Gecko sends in a super chat and says, "You guys gonna marry? Will you do it online?"
we
could sell tickets. We could have an online Zoom wedding.
We can put it on Patreon. Then people
yeah.
have to subscribe.
Yeah, that'll be for my. I never do anything on my Patreon. I never push my Patreon. I do have a Patreon. Maybe that'll get the money. You know, I'll get people to send. We'll get married on. We'll get married, but we have to talk about that.
You have to ask me.
Yeah. I have to get her a ring, and you know, she just got divorced. She was married the whole time we were together. We were living in sin because her divorce took so long. Why would she be,
That's what happens
I
when
know.
you're married to a
somebody like Briney.
problematic person.
A problematic person. I like that. Problematic person. Ross Gecko goes on and says, one great shot, a great movie does not make. Does that mean you didn't like this movie, Ross? Yeah, I mean, the more I think about this movie, the more I have problems with it, but it was really well made.
Oh, and by the way, it's been over a year since the divorce was final. It's probably been 2.
It hasn't been 2.
Yeah, it has.
No. Malbrain sends in a super chat and says, Hannah, Joe Wright's follow-up to this, also with Saoirse Ronan, is completely different. Chemical Brothers, spy games, martial arts. There is no doubt he's a great director. He really is a great director. And I love The Darkest...
I love this movie. I think this movie is brilliant.
I love The Darkest Hour. I'll tell you, if you want to have a fun time at the movies, watch The Darkest Hour, and then halfway through, at a certain point, go watch Dunkirk, and then come back and watch... Remember, we did that. We watch halfway through The Darkest Hour, because it's about Dunkirk as part of it. Then go watch Dunkirk, and then watch the rest of The Darkest Hour. It's a very innovative way to watch a double feature about Dunkirk.
Or watch this movie.
Benedict Throgadict Thunderbatch sends in a tip and says, "What's up, hosers? You're watching an art cinema film by my brothers Bob and Doug McKenzie? Eh? Oh, Seamus McKenzie? Eh? He's our cousin, eh? From across the pond. Time to go, hosers. We should watch Strange Brew. Have you seen Strange Brew? Bob and Doug McKenzie?
No.
You should watch Strange Brew. You know what we can? You know what we should watch?
What? Well, are you going to choose a movie for Monday?
Yep, I'm going to choose a movie for Monday.
What is it?
I'm not going to tell you until the end of the show. Oh. But it's really good.
I think I have a movie for Friday already.
I know what we're going to watch. I know what we're going to watch on Monday. It's going to be incredibly controversial.
Oh, good.
We're going to watch the most controversial movie on Whining About Movies that we could possibly watch.
Oh, great. Maybe we'll get a lot of viewers.
Maybe we would, but I like our viewers.
I do too.
Ross Gecko says, Joe Wright, auteur or above average journeyman? I think he's a good director. I thought this movie was beautifully directed, and I thought the stylistic flourishes were very interesting. I liked the film. I really did.
I love this film. I love it.
Mm. Actually, you know what? My controversial choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them decide whether we should do it.
Okay.
I'm going to let the audience decide.
Cool.
Timbula the Spider Monkey's here.
Okay.
Timbulus Tim says, watching you two talk about movies is bringing back memories of the first time I saw this and the conversation I had with my girlfriend about it. Only in that conversation, I was Elizabeth and she was Rob.
Wow.
Is this the lady you went on to marry? Is it?
There was another movie that they disagreed on, and he was more along what I was thinking. And
Mulholland Drive. David Galvez says Mulholland Drive for the next Whining episode. We did The Elephant Man. We already did a David Lynch film. I think Mulholland Drive would be really, really a good one to do. I don't know if you would like Mulholland Drive.
I've seen it.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm, and I liked it.
Oh, well, then maybe.
But I don't remember it, so.
That's okay, you don't remember
We could
anything.
do it. I never remember anything.
Gerald sends in a tip and says, I want to recommend Phoenix to you both. It's a German film from 2014 where the heroine gets effed like the James McAvoy character in Atonement, but she earns the most satisfying justice at the end with a song. Ooh, that sounds good.
That does sound good.
Like I'd be into that.
Yeah, me too.
So, like, I don't know. I mean, I think that this movie.
You never wanted to see this movie to begin with.
Yeah,
when
but
I tried to show it to you a couple years ago,
I bought this movie
and
for
then
you.
you fell asleep. Yeah, because I asked you to.
I bought this Blu-ray for
I
you.
said I need this movie for my collection, and you did buy it for me. But you just from the beginnings, you probably heard some review.
No, because
Because this is what you do. You heard, or one of your friends.
No, it's not
one
one of
your
my friends
was probably shitting on it, and you were like, oh yeah, okay, this is a dumb movie. I don't want to see it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, once you decide that.
No.
Once you decide that about a movie, then there's nothing I can say or do.
That is an unfair assessment. There are friends of mine whose opinions I trust. That if they tell me something about a film, I know whether or not intellectually I will enjoy it or
See,
not.
I'm not like that. I don't care what anybody else says. I will make that judgment for myself. So I don't listen to what other people say. They can say whatever they want. I will decide for myself if I like or not like a movie.
I will do that as well, but
no, you don't do that.
No, I've seen so many movies in my life that I know what I'm going to enjoy and I know what I'm not going to enjoy. And it's like, life is too short. I mean, it's interesting to watch them with you so we can have these discussions. But, I don't know if I didn't do this, if I would have gone, I wouldn't probably, look, I'll tell you a movie that, I'll tell you a movie that I did not go see in the theater. Because for that very reason, and I learned a lesson because I loved it. The Age of Innocence. Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence.
That is a great film.
I was like, oh my God, I cannot watch this movie. And I saw a screener, an Academy screener of it. I was staying at a friend's house, and he had an Academy screener of it, and he'd gone to bed, and I was sleeping on the couch. I'm like, I'm going to watch this, because it's Martin Scorsese. I loved it. I bought the Criterion Blu-ray.
Well, wouldn't that prove to you that you should not listen to your friends?
No.
And decide
no.
for yourself?
No. My friends didn't tell me not to see it. This was a decision I made. I'm like,
how did you make that decision?
Because it just didn't appeal to me. I read it, and I'm like, what it was about, and I understand the novel it's based on.
You can't judge movies without seeing them.
Look, I've been saying this my whole life, but there are some subject matters. It's like,
okay,
look,
I get that.
Yeah, that I just would not, that I thought I was interested in it, and I.
Well, same with Sound of Music. You refused to watch it.
That's right. I refused to watch Sound of Music. I had an aversion to it, and I loved it. I love Sound of Music.
And yeah, I won't say anymore.
I love Sound of Music. Well, you can say what you want. Jason Froggies says it's a slasher film. Only Bryony is Mrs. Bothers. Sin is a great emotional escape from everyday crap. If you two are sinners, who gives a crap? Live, love, laugh, and fuck everybody else. Yeah, I guess I don't believe in that though. I like people.
I do too.
You know what? I was thinking about this because I get a lot of letters. People write me a lot of letters that I don't share sometimes on Robservations. I mean, a lot of people praise me. For making a place where people can come in, and I've always wanted to do that. Like when I was a kid, when I got a VCR, I always wanted the neighborhood kids to come over. I'm like, let's watch this movie.
Yeah.
And so I've always wanted to get people together because I like people. I want to make people happy. And that's kind of what this channel has become. Like let's get a bunch of people together and have a good time.
Yeah.
And share and I'll be the enthusiastic one that throws the party. And everybody else gets to come and have fun. That I think is my ultimate life goal.
Well, you've done that.
Apparently not with this movie. No, I mean, I hope so. That's what, we'll go on. I hope so. So Jason Throggies, I like that instead of Jason Voorhees. I like what Throg does every time. He never just says Throg. He always comes up with some clever variation.
Very
Doc
clever.
Savage sends in a super chat and says, hello, hey fellow savages, any chance you guys would do Memento? I thought it was a brilliant film and I'd love to get your breakdowns. It's Christopher Nolan's second feature after Following. It's very interesting and it's kind of told backwards. Have you ever seen it?
I have seen it, but like I said, I don't usually remember. I mean, I remember sort of, but not really. So yeah, we could totally do that letter. We could totally do that movie. And it'd be like I'm watching it for the first time.
Well, that would be good. Ross Gecko sends in another. Ross Gecko says, in honor of your future marital bliss, watch War of the Roses, Antichrist, and Blue Valentine. Wow. All movies I own on Blu-ray, by the way. Have you seen Antichrist?
That I have not. I have seen War of the Roses, and I think I've seen
Antichrist.
Maybe not.
Antichrist would be a good movie to do. Because we have not watched a movie by that director. He's Danish.
Okay.
I don't know if you would forgive me for the opening scene, though.
Well, it would make for a really good conversation.
It would make for a really good conversation. Antichrist is actually... so there's a director named Lars von Trier. Mm-hmm. And I actually have... his first film was a science fiction movie that you can't get on Blu-ray called Element of Crime. I have the Criterion DVD over there in the collection. But he's made a lot of... Breaking the Waves is a really interesting film he made. But Antichrist... He made Nymphomaniac 1 and 2. He made The House That Jack Built. Actually, I think I have all of his movies now that I think about it. But Antichrist... maybe it has the greatest death of an infant ever put on film. The most beautiful death of an infant in the opening scene.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, when you mess with children, that really gets to me. I don't know.
The baby was on a windowsill in the winter.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Who puts a baby on a windowsill?
Well, it's something like that, and they're having sex, and they knocked it off the.
No! Oh my God! I can't. No. Who would put that in a movie?
Lars von
Trier. Fuck him. That's.
Well, it has a point. It has a larger point. Timbula's here. He says, the other movie we disagreed on was The Princess Bride. She loathed it.
That's right.
We've been together 15 years, not married, and we decided long ago we weren't interested. Because he's in Australia, and they say partner. She's my partner.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. She's my partner.
Yeah, partner sounds better than boyfriend.
And the secret to our longevity is the ability to say, fuck it, you go ahead and like that. I like that. That's exactly.
Absolutely.
Cheers to Tim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers to that. Here, we'll...
Well, we're kind of like that. I mean, you
we
can
are
like whatever
like
you want.
Yeah, I can like whatever I want.
I just want you to go into movies open-minded. That's what bothers me.
I do go into movies. I go into every movie open-minded.
No, not really.
Yes, I do.
No.
Yes, I do. Because even... Yes. Yes, I do, because when I watch them, when I turn them on...
Most movies you go in open-minded.
I went in open-minded to Sound of Music.
But there's a few that you know. No. It took me forever.
I know, but when I started...
getting everyone to get you to watch that movie.
But when I sat down, when we watched it, my mind is a blank slate. I sit down
Yeah, but this movie, this is the second time that I had to show it to you, because the first time you were so... And Sound of Music, how many times did I put it on and you would make fun
Only
of it?
Only a couple of times.
You would make fun of it, or you would...
Yes,
you would be so, like...
I was perpetuating
you would drink so much that you would fall asleep. 3 or 4 times, and it made me so angry. Or you would just, make fun of it from the beginning.
I don't think this is what our show should be about.
Don't even say that you go into movies open-minded.
Look, the Sound of Music thing became a running joke.
No,
I was perpetuating that.
You were a dick a couple of times when I tried to put it on. Especially after Sophie bought it for you for Christmas. I tried to put it on
Okay, but that's
because the
Bell women were forcing it down my throat.
Yeah.
You were forcing it down my throat.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
It was my way of keeping my independence. Throg Sin Killer says, I lost my virginity watching The Age of Innocence. How apropos.
Wow.
Just kidding. September 22nd has 3 25th anniversaries. 7. My God. 7 Empire Records and Showgirls is 25th anniversary. Triple header, anyone? 7... all 3 of those movies are good. I don't own Empire Records. I should get Empire Records, but I love Showgirls. I love Showgirls.
I haven't seen it.
I know, you've never seen Showgirls. You've never seen the greatness that is Nomi Malone starring in Goddess. Babette gonna be spitting, laugh out loud.
Yep.
So, back to this movie.
Yes.
So you explain to me why you think this is a romantic film.
This is the ultimate romantic film.
How is this the ultimate romantic film?
Because they are so in love, and yet they can't be together because of this tragic
But they barely spend any time on that.
But they grew up together and they went to school together.
But you don't see that. That's all just talked about off screen. It's not like you
see the tension between them.
But in a few scenes.
Yeah, because they had to get to the rest of the story.
But the rest of the story, I mean, I don't need to. If it was really romantic, you would.
It was all about how she was trying to atone for what she did because they should have been together.
I get
and
that.
And she writes this story, this romantic story of them being together.
But I hated her.
Yeah, you're supposed to hate her.
I hated that character.
No, I don't hate her, actually, because I get it. As a child, you think you know things that you don't know.
Okay, but then she should have come clean and said she knew when she was a nurse. She knew she could have done...
Yes, she should have, and she... in her way, but I think that they died before she could. When she realized what she had done, they had already passed away.
He was in jail for years.
Yeah, he was, because she was so young. She didn't realize what she did until it was too late.
Maybe it's because you're a mother of two girls that you have more sympathy for her.
I understand how children are. You were a child at one point. Didn't you, when you were younger, you thought you knew things, but you really didn't?
No, I really did know everything.
Bullshit.
No, but I didn't.
I remember specifically.
But no, I was. You know what? I was the exact opposite. I wanted to know everything, so I asked questions. To the point where I annoyed my mother. I told you, when I was in the first grade and going to school, I was so excited. Or second grade. It was second grade when this happened. I was so excited about everything I learned. I would come back and explain everything I'd learned that day over the dinner table, and my mom finally just said, she told me to shut up. She goes, "Please stop." My mother actually told me to stop talking.
Yeah.
Told me to stop because I was excited about everything I was maybe I was an annoying kid.
Well, maybe it's a girl thing because girls are told to shut up, to not ask questions, and so you start formulating in your mind. Yes, they are. Yes, actually they are. And you start formulating in your mind your ideas of what the world is, and you have to survive, you have to really believe that you know what you're talking about. Otherwise, nobody listens to you. Nobody listens to you. And so when you're really, really young, unfortunately, you think you know, but you really don't know.
Right, but she was also...
And when you reach a certain age, you realize, oh my God.
But she was portrayed as being wise beyond her years. She was obviously the snippet of the play that we heard.
She was super smart.
She was super smart. So you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me that she's super smart and thinks she knows everything and then absolve her.
Yes, that goes hand in hand.
But
I'm not absolving her. I'm just telling you, as a child, she thought she knew. Because she's so intelligent. She thought she knew what she was seeing. And it wasn't until she was older and experienced life that she realized what she did. She thought she knew. She thought she was protecting her cousin. She really thought that that's what happened. And it wasn't until after she lived some life and saw some tragedy and saw so much pain and the guy who needed to be loved at the moment of his death, she then realized what she had done, and she tried in any way that she could. The only tools she has is she's a writer, so she tried to fix it in the way that she could. She knew she could never truly fix it, but she tried.
All right, you almost convinced me. Not quite. You almost convinced me. So, all right, Elizabeth. On our bottoms-up scale, explain the bottoms-up scale.
The bottoms-up scale is from 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
Because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
4 glasses of wine in a bottle. And on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, what would you give this movie?
I will give this movie 4 glasses of wine.
4 glasses of wine?
Yeah, I really love this movie.
Now, I would say...
Although, I kind of want to give it 3.75. Can I do that?
Yeah. It's your show.
Because it's not perfect. But I do love this film.
Okay, I'm going to say... Now, this might surprise you. Because I'm going to give this a higher rating than you might have thought. Because I think this movie is beautifully made.
Yes.
I think it's beautifully acted. I loved a lot about this film. I just thought, for me, the story itself let me down in particular. But obviously it works for you, and I can recognize that the movie has value.
Okay.
I recognize.
I can
so
appreciate that.
I'm going to give Atonement 3 glasses of wine.
Okay.
3 glasses of wine. So
Okay.
cheers to Atonement. 3 glasses of wine. Now, let's here's something. So I'm going to throw this out. So I got a Blu-ray today.
Okay.
I got a Blu-ray today from a very interesting website called Stinky Tuna. Stinky Tuna is an Asian, I believe it's a Japanese website, and they basically have lots of Blu-rays that you're not supposed of things you're not supposed to own. Stinky Tuna.
Stinky.
And they're not
tuna.
expensive either. Like, you can get the original version of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi there. For like $15.
Wow. How does Stinky Tuna have this stuff?
Well, they have the Adiwan. They're the Adiwan versions. But they have interesting things.
Okay.
You know, they have interesting bootlegs. Well, something in Asia, I don't know if it's in all of Asia or just Japan, went into the public domain.
Okay.
Which means it's no longer. I don't know how they were able to do this.
You're scaring me now.
Nope. So, from Stinky Tuna today, I got Song of the South, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh my God.
on Blu-ray in 1080.
No, we're not doing that song.
How about
How
How
we're
about
not.
Song of the South, Elizabeth?
No, we're not doing that.
We're not going to do it.
Nope.
I don't know. Look at this. And by the way, this packaging is beautiful
We are
because
not doing this
I
film.
sold my Japanese Laserdisc.
Nope.
They have a reversible cover.
Nope.
The Disney police would be very mad at me that I
Yeah.
have this on Blu-ray.
No, people are going to be mad if we review this film, so no.
Why? This movie was available. The last time this was theatrically released
Someone's
was
going to take a little soundbite of what we say and splash it all over the internet, and we're going to be fucked. So no. My answer is no. It's just to protect you, love.
Well, sorry everyone. No Song of the South for me. Although I will say, you know what they have at Stinky Tuna? They have an expanded version of the Purple Rain soundtrack that has all of the other songs in addition to the Prince songs. Like they have Sex Shooter, Vanity 6, Shooting in the Right Direction. They have Fright Night 2. They have the Star Wars, the original Star Wars versions. Claude is here. Claude sent in a super chat and says, Bonjour, mon ami. Rob, that Belle Epoque character is diametrically opposed to your unique humility and ability to be wrong and willingness to learn. Well, what can I say?
I have to say, though...
Belle Epoque, that's a movie.
Yes.
That's a movie we should watch.
Yes, it is. I have to say, though, the song Zippity Doo Dah has stuck with me my entire life.
I know. Well, I grew up...
I sing it all the time because it sounds like Skippy, and so I always sing.
You always say skipperty doo dah. You always say that in the.
I sing that to our cat, Skipperty Doo Dah.
Skipperty, because her name's Skippy.
Yeah.
It is true. Well, I grew up with Song of the South. I mean,
Yeah, we all
Brer
did.
Rabbit and Uncle Remus. I mean, I saw Song of the South. I probably
Yeah.
saw Song of the South 3 or 4 times growing up in the theater. It was theatrically re-released by Disney in the United States in 1986.
And it was on TV. They
Yeah,
put it on TV.
Yeah, and I had the Japanese Laserdisc that I sold for a lot of money. But when I saw
anyway,
that
we're
was
not going to do it.
all right.
I just don't think we should.
No Song of the South for you.
No. I mean, I'm going to watch it.
Maybe we can bring on a special guest star or somebody to watch it.
No, we're not doing it.
All right.
No.
Somebody that might be able to offer a good commentary.
No, we're not doing it. Sorry.
Well, I'm not saying anybody should go to stinkytuna.com to get, say, the Star Wars movies, the 1977. I have to say, though, for a site like this, their service was amazing.
I'll have to check it out because there are movies I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could get that, and then I search for them and I can't find them.
Well, no, it's mostly genre stuff. I mean, it's stuff people are looking for. You know what else they have?
Yeah.
They have all the Netflix movies that aren't on physical media.
Oh.
Like, I bought The Irishman on Blu-ray.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I bought The Irishman on Blu-ray. Doc Savage, he is not going to like my answer to this.
He hates that movie.
Doc Savage says, I can't think of a better kids' adventure movie as The Goonies. Can you guys? I reviewed The Goonies for my high school newspaper. I hated The Goonies. I hated it. It was the only movie I've ever seen in my entire life that has gratuitous kissing. With Martha Plimpton.
Yeah, I only saw it once, and I only saw it like just a few years ago.
Oh my God, do I hate The Goonies.
I took Sophie to an outdoor screening.
Doc Savage, I don't mean to denigrate your love of The Goonies. Everybody loves The Goonies but me. I'm the only person I've ever met that hates The Goonies. And my hatred of The Goonies is deep.
I didn't love The Goonies, but I don't hate it.
Oh, I hate it. A lot of people have taken me to task. They can't believe I hate The Goonies. But you know what? It's coming out, I think, on 4K. Maybe, to be honest, to be fair, Doc Savage could have something there. Maybe I saw The Goonies once in my life.
I saw it once.
I've never revisited The Goonies. Maybe
you need to rewatch it.
Maybe I'll pick it up, and I think it's that. You know what? That's not a bad idea.
I think we should do it.
I think we should do The Goonies.
Yes.
That would be interesting.
But it won't be for Monday because we don't have it.
Oh, yeah, I don't own it. I'll have to get it. And if it's coming out on 4K, I'll get it on 4K. So
what are we going to do Monday?
Well, I don't know. Now we're not.
We're not doing Song.
No Song of the South.
Mm-mm. Too dangerous.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe if everyone went to Stinky Tuna and bought their copies of it, we could all do a viewing party together.
Nope.
All right. Well.
Don't think it's a good idea.
What are we going to do on Monday? I don't know yet. I'll have to figure that out over the weekend. You know what? I'm moving. I'll have, by the end of the weekend, I'll have my entire physical media collection here. And I'll go through it and I'll pick something.
Okay. Do you know what I'm thinking about for Friday?
I do not know.
Do you want to know?
I do want to know.
Now, you guys can help me decide if this is a good idea. But I was thinking Dances with Wolves.
I love Dances with Wolves.
But it's 3 hours long.
Yeah, that's as long as the Minnow took until they were shipwrecked on Gilligan's Island. A 3-hour tour.
3-hour tour.
I love Dances with Wolves is great. That's a great movie for Romantic Friday.
Okay.
And I have the extended version that's even longer.
Oh, great.
I love Dances with Wolves.
It'll be interesting because, we'll talk about it when we watch it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I think that brings us to an end.
Yep.
An end to Elizabeth's episode, Whining About Movies, episode 51.
Wow.
Atonement. What do we say?
Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear.
Yeah, there you go.
And all you have to do is listen.
All you have to do is listen. And Doc Savage votes Memento. You know what? I'll do that. Okay, we're doing Memento. Memento Monday. We'll do Memento for Memento Monday. You called it. I think that's a good idea. People should people throw out suggestions and then we'll pick one. I like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like viewer's choice.
Yeah.
So Doc Savage.
Yeah.
Memento.
Throw it out there.
So I want to thank our moderating staff. I want to thank Mike Bawden. I want to thank Gerald sends in a tip and says, I agree with Elizabeth. But what sad times we live in that a movie review can't be done without the fear of mob justice.
It is sad. But also I care what happens. So.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think people would be. To be honest, I mean, I did buy this disc from a bootleg site, and working in the industry, I am completely against piracy. However. And I say, however, I did own the Japanese Laserdisc of this, and this film has always been available in Asia. And it did fall into the public domain. So, it's not like I've done something terribly wrong.
Just a little bit wrong.
Maybe a little bit wrong. I don't know. Although this could be a legit
No, we're not doing it. People can't watch it.
Yeah,
no.
that's true. People don't watch it. But anyway, you're right. But yeah, it's true that we can't review something. And you know what? If I was going to I should do a show, like a Robservations show, and I think that I would have to have, it'd be interesting to do a panel show where I could get a bunch of my people of color, friends of mine that work in the industry, and sit down and do some kind of a show where we actually review it. Because I'd be curious. That's what we wanted to do when I was working on Disney Blu-rays. We tried to get them.
that would be to see if the level of offensiveness.
Yeah, I mean, because look, this movie again, it hasn't been available in 34 years. So, 34 years. The last time it was released theatrically was 1986. So, and when I was growing up, every kid had seen this movie.
Yeah.
So, but
we all know the songs.
It's true. Okay, so we're doing Memento. Christopher Nolan's Memento on Monday.
What do you think of Dances with Wolves?
Dances with Wolves on Friday.
Or
That's
something
good.
something weird. I think people like the weird movies.
Well, then we should do Crash. We'll do Crash. Let's do Crash Wednesday. We said we're going to do it.
Okay, fine. Crash Wednesday. I have a lot to say about that movie.
Okay, so we're going to do Memento Monday, David Cronenberg's Crash on Wednesday, and Dances with Wolves on Friday.
Unless you think Dances with Wolves is not a good idea.
Dances with Wolves is great. I love Dances with Wolves.
It is a great movie, but we don't get a lot of viewers when it's a great movie. They like weird movies. They like when we argue about weird movies.
Well, okay, but so mix it up. I like Romantic Fridays. It's not like we can do like really weird I mean.
Well, what was the movie I picked that really? Well, that's a romantic movie.
I don't know. Anyway, so we're done. This is it.
That's it.
So what did we say? We're done.
Have a better night.
No, you can just toss it off. You have to talk to the viewers.
Have a better night.
As always, we want to thank everybody. I want to thank the Richard. I didn't even thank the rest of the moderating staff. I want to remind everybody that the Richard always throws watch parties.
Buckaroo Banzai. We did Buckaroo Banzai.
Buckaroo Banzai. Yeah, we did. Greg's our moderator. Greg, where you been? Greg Smith is here.
Go back and find it. We did
Greg, we did Buckaroo Banzai. Greg Smith is here too. So the moderating staff: Mike Bodden, Greg Smith, Haynock, the Richard, Jordy Lyons, and hopefully we'll have new moderators so we don't drive Richard insane. But remember, go to the Post-Geek Singularity Facebook page and the WINEning About Movies Facebook page.
Now he's doing Zoom watch parties.
Now he's going to do a Zoom watch party. Yeah, that's true. So there you go. Throg Liquor says, I want to lick your pink Darth Vader. Hey, man, that pink Darth Vader I bought to support breast cancer research because my mom is a breast cancer survivor. So, but if you want to lick it, you can.
He wants to lick it.
He wants to lick it. And Demon Throggin says, Night of the Demons watch. Yeah, Night of the Demons. Yeah, Night of the Demons is all right. But it's mid-level. It's mid-level. If we're gonna watch a vampire movie like that or a demon movie, we should watch something more highbrow, like Demons.
You know what I want to do? That weird mermaid movie.
The Lure.
The Lure.
Didn't we do the Lure? We didn't do the Lure?
No.
Oh, we got to do the Lure.
The Lure.
If you haven't seen the Lure, if you guys haven't seen the Lure, like a fishing lure, oh, you haven't lived. Yeah, well, let's do the Lure. That's a good one.
That's such a good one.
We should do that for Romantic Friday. That's a good one.
That is a romantic movie.
It is. I know. It is romantic. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little silly in this one. You want weird? Says Doc Savage. Meet the Feebles. I have Meet the Feebles. It's basically I would say it's an R or hard R, maybe even an X-rated movie with Muppets.
Oh.
And directed by Peter Jackson.
I don't know how I
directed
feel
by
about
Peter
that.
Jackson. It's pretty funny. Anyway, but they're remastering that in 4K, I think. They're going to do Dead Alive, Bad Taste, and Meet the Feebles in 4K, which I can't wait to get. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kind creatures across the 28 known galaxies, however you identify, thank you for being here. We very much appreciate the support. Please send us letters at the Burnettwork.net website. You can also send videos. If you want to send us videos, rebuttals, anything you want, we will play them on this show. But if you want to send us letters, we will read them on this show. So send them to the Burnettwork.
Yep.
And so brings an end to Whining About Movies. Elizabeth's Whining About Movies, episode 51, Atonement. 4 glasses of wine from Elizabeth, 3 glasses of wine from the Bobster. So have a good night. I will be back. Robservations will be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, and Tallulah's fine.
Oh, yes, Tallulah is fine. She had a big nodule on her nose.
It was like a giant zit.
It was like a giant zit. We didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, we thought it was a tumor.
Yeah, a tumor.
Tumor.
Is that a tumor?
It's a tumor.
All right, so join me tomorrow. I'll be back with Robservations. I have a lot of great letters, too. You guys are killing it with the letters. Good letters. Starting with a letter from Jeffrey Mount. So everyone, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.